All right. Today we are going to start a new unit. So, new packet coming out to you. Yeah, it's kind of a big one.
Can I just go in and do something?
Oh my gosh.
So take a packet, pass it back. Okay, then I need you can put your name on your packet right away. And I need you to take out your calculator and go to page 1 in your packet. So I'll give you a minute to get your calculator out and go to page 1.
We already knew we were doing percentage.
You already know all this stuff?
No, Mr. Christensen told us that we're doing
That it's coming up?
Yeah. Right in my class.
Okay, so we're gonna start a unit on percents. I kinda like percents. Part of it's gonna be super easy because we're gonna use a lot of the same things we used in the last unit. Rates, ratios, those all relate to percents, okay? So you're gonna use a lot of that knowledge from the last unit on this unit, which will make parts of it really easy. Okay, in real life, what are some different ways in which you see percents? Obviously you see percents in math class, right? We're gonna do a unit on percents. But outside of math class, when do you guys use percents?
Never.
Oh, yes you do.
I don't.
Yes you do. Maya.
Like deals at the stores.
Yeah. Like if something's on sale, okay? Right? I like to shop, but I like to shop when I get a sale. So it's on sale for 30% off or 50% off or 20% off. Okay, we use those percents all the time. When else do you see percents?
Oh, and when you go on Fortnite and you buy V-Bucks there?
Yeah, there's percents on it?
Yeah, there's discounts.
Discounts. Okay, discounts are a percent, absolutely. Okay, so on sale again. Do you see percents anywhere else in your everyday life? Yeah.
Grades, like I have a 100% on
Yeah.
some class.
Okay, so your grades, whether you have 100% or 90% or 72%, whatever it is, your grades are always a percent, and those percents mean something to you, right? You know that if you have 50%,
You gotta get that.
well, you better get better. You better get better, right? If you have 80%, maybe that's okay. Maybe you want to do better than that. I don't know, but you guys have an idea of what those percents mean. Okay, where else do we see percents? Anywhere?
On the phone.
On your phone, your battery life, right? That's important. You guys pay attention to that. When your phone battery is going dead, you go plug it in. When your Chromebook's battery is going dead, you're like, oh well, it'll die.
A Chromebook.
Right.
That's something we don't talk about.
You don't care about that, but your phone you do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even though it's
Tips. Okay, when you go out to eat, you leave a tip.
I don't.
Or your parents leave a tip most of the time. You should if you're being waited on. Okay, that's a percent. Typically, you leave 10 to 15% of your bill as a tip. Okay, we pay taxes. We all have to pay taxes.
Not all of us.
Yes, you do.
I don't.
Yeah, you do.
I don't.
Every time you go to the grocery store, you buy pop, you buy candy, you pay tax on those things.
Yeah, but I don't pay for it.
Yes, you do.
I don't.
Oh, your parents do?
Yeah, I
They
don't.
pay for everything for you?
Yeah, not me.
Oh, you have awesome parents.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm broke.
So every time we go buy some of those things that are not a necessity in Minnesota, we don't have to pay tax on food or clothing. Okay? But we pay tax on lots of other things. We pay tax on candy, on pop, on chips, those kind of things. Okay? We have to pay gas taxes. We have to pay property taxes. Okay, once you own a property, you'll find out that you never really own it. You always have to keep paying for it because you have to pay the property tax on it. Okay, and that's all a percent. Okay, someday some of you might work a job where you work on commission. You earn a percentage of what you sell. So that's a percent. Okay, so this is a pretty realistic, real life lesson. You're going to use this stuff for the rest of your life, okay? You're going to need to know about percent. So today we're going to start pretty simple. We're going to just do percents, fractions, and decimals and do those conversions, okay? So, starting here, a percent is really a ratio of a number to 100. Percents are always out of 100. The best you can do is 100. Can you go over 100%? Sure. What does that mean in school when you have over 100%?
Extra credit.
Extra credit. Yeah, it's possible to get over 100%, but it's still 105% out of 100. It means you're over the max, okay? You can have 200%. Stores can mark items up 200%. That means they double the price before they sell it to you.
That's a scam.
Well, it might be, but they have to make money somehow,
We do too.
okay? Stores can't sell you the item for what they bought it for, right? They have to increase the price or they're never gonna make any money. Okay, so they increase it by a percentage. Sometimes we say out of 100. We use this symbol, right? That percent sign. Anytime we're talking about percents, we need to put a percent sign on it. There is a difference between writing the number 45 and 45%. Those are very different numbers. If I say I have $45, that's very different than I have 45% of $8. Okay? So the percent is very different than the actual number. Okay, so today we're only looking at conversions. Okay, we're going to start by being able to change a percent into a fraction. Okay, so everybody look at slide 3 on that first page. If I want to go from a percent and write it as a fraction, okay, step 1 is get rid of the percent sign. Okay, step 2 is put the number as a fraction over 100. Because percents are out of 100, we just put it over 100. And then simplify it. So if it's 88%, 88 over 100, and then simplify, divide by 4, 22 over 25. Okay, so what if I said 12%? How would I start writing that as a fraction? What would I do, Ethan?
12 over 100.
12 over 100. Percents are out of 100, so 12 over 100. Write these examples down. If you're not writing something down right now and you're just doodling, you should be writing. Can I simplify 12 out of 100? What can both these numbers be divided by? Bria? 2. So I get 6 over 50. Am I done simplifying? What can I divide by again? Daniel? 2. So I get 3 over 25. There's my answer. So 12% as a fraction is 3/25. Okay. Sometimes, Summer, I'm going to close your Chromebook. Sometimes we have percents that have a decimal. Okay. Maybe it's 42.1%. Okay. We still do the same thing. We're still going to write it as a fraction. 42.1 over 100. However, now we have a problem. You cannot have a decimal in a fraction. Right? That doesn't look right. When we have fractions, we want just a fraction with whole numbers. So we somehow need to fix this. Okay, this is an easy fix. Here's all you need to do. To change this, we're going to take your decimal on the top and we're just going to scoot it back 1. I'm going to move it back to here. But if I do that on the top, I have to do the same thing on the bottom. So I'm going to take my decimal here and scoot it back 1. That means add a 0. So my answer is now 421 over 1,000. Can we simplify that? No. So then we're done. 42.1% as a fraction is 421 over 1,000. Okay, let's try another one similar to that. Let's go with 12.2%. 12.2%. How would I write that as a fraction first? Bria. 12.2 over 100. Can we leave it that way? No. So what do I have to do? Maya. Move the decimal back one on the top and on the bottom. So it's going to be 122 over 1,000. Can I simplify that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I can divide by 2. 122 divided by 2. I don't know what off the top of my head. Is 61. So 61 over 500. There's my answer. Questions with changing a percent to a fraction? Any questions there? Okay. Then, changing a percent to a decimal. So looking at the next slide, slide number 4. A percent to a decimal, you are going to divide the number by 100. Okay, now really we're not going to need a calculator to do that. Dividing by 100 is really easy. All we're going to do is move the decimal point 2 places to the left. Okay, so if it's 51%, the decimal right now is right after the 1. I'm going to take that decimal and I'm going to move it over 2. So it's 0.51 as my answer. Okay, so I really don't need my calculator at all to be able to do that. So if I said we had 27%, what would that be as a decimal? 27% as a decimal. Write this example on your paper. What would we get? Daniel?
27
0.27
hundredths.
or 27 hundredths. We take our decimal and we scoot it over 2. Okay, what if it was 20%? What would that be as a decimal? Maya? 0.20. Move it over to 0.20. Do I need the 0 at the end? Absolutely not. Okay, that's just extra. So 0.2. 20% is 0.2. How about 3%? What would that be as a decimal? You guys, this isn't hard. Every one of you should be able to do this. Move the decimal over 2. What would you get, Lynn?
1.3.
Okay, careful. If I put the decimal right here, right, that's where it is right now, and I move it over 2, does it end up right here? No. So over 2 means 1, 2, so what's my answer going to be?
0.03.
Yeah, 0.03. Okay, so make sure you're always moving that decimal 2 places. Questions there? All right, flip the page in your packet. Flip the page, and we're looking at going from a decimal to a percent. So this is just the opposite of what we were just doing. To go from a percent to a decimal, you divide by 100. To go from a decimal to a percent, you would multiply by 100. Okay? Or the quick and easy way is to move the decimal 2 places to the right and then throw a percent sign on it. Okay, so I've put 2 examples on here. 0.08 as a percent. We have to take that decimal and we have to scoot it over 2, which means it becomes 8%. We have to add that percent sign. 0.7 becomes 70%. Okay, so if the decimal was, let's say, 0.36, percent is that? 0.36 is what percent? Joseph.
36.
36%. Don't forget to put the percent sign on. Okay, we move the decimal 2 places, it's 36%. Okay, how about 0.125? What would that be as a percent? Nellie?
12.5.
Absolutely. We move it over to, it's 12.5%. Okay. What if it was 5.17? What would that be as a percent? Maya?
517.
Yeah. 517%. How about 3 as a percent? What would that be? Summer.
30%.
Careful. Where's the decimal on the 3? It's behind it, right? So we move it to, so what would it be, Summer?
300.
Yeah. We have to move it to, which means it's 300%. Okay, so just scooting that decimal over. Questions there? Okay, the last scenario we have is changing a fraction into a percent. And here's where you're going to need your calculator. Okay, if we're going to change a fraction to a percent, we're going to write the fraction as a decimal. And that just means the top divided by the bottom. Fill in those blanks. When we change a fraction to a decimal, we do top divided by bottom. And that's how we put it into our calculator. Okay, you always have to do the top number divided by the bottom number. And then we're going to turn that decimal into a percent. So if I have the fraction 3/5, 3 divided by 5 is 0.6. Move the decimal over to, it's 60%. 7 divided by 40 is 0.175. Move the decimal over to 17.5%. Kind of make sense? Okay, so if the fraction was 1/3, okay, grab your calculator. You would do 1 divided by 3. You get 0.33333, and so on. It keeps going. So what percent is that? B? Okay, so we're going to scoot our decimal over to, and B said 33.3. I'm going to say 33.3 repeating, right? Because the 3 keeps repeating, and then put a percent sign on it. 33.3 repeating percent. Does that sound okay? Okay, what if it was 29 over 30? 29 divided by 30, use your calculator. 29 divided by 30 on my calculator, I got 0.966666667. Does this 7 at the end mean anything? No. So remember, we're just going to ignore that 7 at the end. We move our decimal over to 1, 2. So what percent would that be? B. 96.6 repeating percent. Okay. Now, I know there's 2 more slides on your packet. I want you to cross those off. We're going to do something else instead. Okay. I'm going to hand out to you a chart. It's just a half sheet of paper. Take one, pass it back. Take one, pass it back. So the chart looks just like what I have on the screen up here. Okay? What I want you to do is try to fill in the missing pieces. Okay? So for example, on the first one, I gave you the fraction, 3/20. I want you to write that as a decimal, and I want you to write it as a percent. Then go to the next one. I give you the percent. I want you to write it as a fraction and a decimal. I want you to take a few minutes, fill in what you can. Okay, go through and do any that you can. You can use your calculator. You can look back at your notes. See what you can do on your own first. Remember, you can use your calculator. Maybe about 30 seconds. You have to finish up any that you can do on your own, then we're going to go through them together. When you looked at this, did anybody have a particular spot in what they started? What seemed the easiest to be able to do? Did you have a starting spot?
No.
No? You just started at the top?
Yeah, I start with
Okay, Daniel? You started with the decimals. You changed the decimals into what? Okay, yeah. So when I look at this column to me is really easy. If you gave me all the decimals, I could change them into percents, right? So I like this, and I'm going to start here. I'm going to take this decimal. To change it to a percent, I have to do what? I have to move the decimal over 2. So it becomes 80.7%. Okay, I can go down to this one, 0.45, scoot it over 2, becomes 45%. I can do the same here. 59%. Okay, so it's really easy to fill in those pieces if you know the decimal. So then, can I go to these fractions and change them into decimals? Is it easy to change a fraction to a decimal? Should be, especially if I let you use a calculator, right? What is 3/20 as a decimal? B. 0.15. You just do 3 divided by 20 on your calculator. What is 0.15 as a percent? 15%. Okay, so I'm going to go down to the next fraction. 1/4. What is 1/4 as a decimal? Daniel.
2,500.
So 0.25. What is that as a percent? Nova. 25%. We have one more fraction. 2/9 as a decimal is what? What did you get? What's 2 divided by 9? 0.2 repeating, right? Okay, now keep in mind that's really 0.2222 and it keeps going. So I'm going to scoot my decimal back to what percent is that? 22.2 repeating percent. Okay, we're over halfway done. Now we have to take these percents. The percents are really easy to write as a decimal. Right? I can take this first one, 25.1%. Move your decimal over 2. It's 0.251. Done. Bless you. 12%, take the decimal, move it over 2. It's 0.12. What's 72% as a decimal? Daniel? 0.72. Now we just have fractions. Percents are always out of what? 100. So we drop the percent sign and put it over 100. 25.1 over 100. Can I leave it like that? No. Move your decimal back 1. 251 over 1,000. I can do the same thing here. 80.7 over 100. Move the decimal back 1. 807 over 1,000. I'm done because I cannot simplify that. I go down to 12%. That's 12 over what? 12 over 100. What can both 12 and 100 be divided by? 2. So I can divide by 2. I get 6 over 50. Divide by 2 again. We get 3/25. The hardest part there is making sure to simplify. 45%. 45 over 100. What can you divide by? Summer. 5. 45 divided by 5 is 9 over 20. 100 divided by 5 is 20. 72%, 72 over 100. Both of those can be divided by, I think you can divide by 4. Can you divide by
Yeah,
4?
4.
18 over 25. If you divide by 4. And then the last one, 59 over 100. And you can't simplify that, so we're done. Okay? Okay, not too bad. Okay, your homework tonight is on Delta Math. So we're going to go to Canvas. I'm going to show you what it looks like. You can log on to Canvas already. And on the modules, it says homework, fraction, decimal, percent conversion. And it's on Delta Math. So you're going to go to this deltamath.com and then log in using Google. When you get there, it's going to look like this. Okay, as your Chromebook is loading, eyes up at the screen, please. When you click on it, you're going to click on the problems. They're going to look like this. Okay? Everybody eyes up here so that I can show you what an example looks like. It says convert 0.0602 to a fraction in simplest form and a percent. Okay? As I'm going to go to a percent first. I know that this is really easy to write as a percent if I just move the decimal back to. So it's going to be 60.2%. Okay? That means I have to put the 60 here. There's my decimal point. We have non-repeating parts and we have repeating parts. If it's just 0.2, I'm going to put the 2 right here. Oh, that's not where I want it. Right here. Okay. And now I also have to write it as a fraction. 60.2% is 60.2 over 100. Move the decimal back. It's 602 over 1,000. Divide by 2. 301 over 500. When you enter that, why can't I click it? I know why I can't. I have to clear my ink first. 301 over 500. Just use a slash and it'll make it a fraction. It'll ask you, are you sure that's what you want? Yes, it'll tell you if you're correct or not. You're trying to get 10 correct, so then you go to the next problem. Does that make sense to everyone? Hopefully. Okay, use your time.